Hey everyone. So from the title of this video, you can already tell what we'll be discussing in this video. This video is more a laid back, funny video. Really, I want to say that there's no right or wrong, but there is right and wrong. And you want to make sure that you're not making those mistakes. When it comes to cybersecurity terms, there's some terms that can be confusing and you may not know the difference, but there is a difference. And I'm here to share those differences with you so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did or that other people still do. And really, it's just a matter of like learning and because a lot of people, even though they've been in the industry so long, they still make those mistakes. And I don't want you guys to make those mistakes. I want you to come into the industry really sharp and knowing your stuff. And that's what I'm here for. So I'll be sharing with you 4 cybersecurity terms that people interchange and use wrongly. The first one is incident versus event. Now, people often would use this interchangeably, but there's 2 different things. An event is not an incident, and an incident is, well, it is an event. Yeah, so that's the first difference, right? So let me explain that to you. An event is something that occurs. So think of something happening. It rains. That's an event. An incident is, what does that event lead to? If that event leads to what we call a true positive, and a true positive is like you go, you test something, and you see that, oh, this is something you want to look into. This is an incident. So when an event becomes a true positive, that is an incident. And I'm going to give you an example. So let's say that you log in as a network security person, professional, and you realize that there are some logs showing up that someone is logging from an unknown location, something that unusual, right? An unusual activity happening on your system. And that's an event because you haven't tested that is an incident yet. So now that's where you have to test to see if that event is an incident. So if you test and you see that, oh, the person logging in is, let's say, an employee who traveled, and let's say you weren't aware that they were traveling to this location, and it's coming from them, and you identify that everything is good, that there is no problem, that is not an incident, it's an event. Now, it's going to be an incident if you identify and you test it and you see that you have an attacker in your system. An attacker is going into your system. That's why you're having those logs coming from an unusual location. So that is the difference between an event and an incident. The next thing is cyber attack versus data breach. This is something people always also mistake and interchange. I'll hear someone say, oh, they had a cyber attack, but what they had was a data breach, or they use it differently. Now, let me explain that. A cyber attack is when you have an intruder coming to your system. That is an attack. That is someone who's not supposed to be there that's in your system. That is a cyber attack. A data breach is, let's say they come into your system and now they steal your data, right? That is a data breach. They steal your data, you steal confidential client information, client data, and now they're selling it somewhere. That is a data breach, right? It's a breach of data. So think about it. Is data involved? It's a breach of data. That is a data breach. If data is not involved, that's a cyber attack. You can also put it in this way: is if I have a house, right? Someone breaks into my house, that is an attack. If they steal something valuable when they break into my house, now that is a data breach, right? So that is the difference. And the next one we want to look at is risk owner versus risk custodian. People always mistake this too. I would hear people say, well, I'm not a risk owner, but you are the risk owner. So a risk owner is when you think of the management, the top tier, right? That is the risk owner. And a risk custodian is someone who handles the daily operations of maintaining and mitigating the risk, right? Mitigating the risk, keeping the risk under control, avoiding the risk, the daily operations, the day-to-day. Think of a custodian, right? Then an owner is, so you think about the owner is like the owner of the house, the custodian. So let's say I'm renting an apartment, right? The owner of the apartment is the landlord. But as the one renting the apartment, I'm the custodian because I'm taking care of it. He's not there every day to take care of the apartment, see what's going on in the apartment. I'm taking care of my space as a custodian. That's the difference. So if we look at, and it could also be the same for asset owner versus asset custodian. So if we look at, let's say HR, let's say people are leaving the company, not returning like the company laptop when you leave the company, they're not returning the company's asset. Now that is a risk, right? And that would be something that will be owned by HR or human capital team. So they will be the risk custodian. Meanwhile, the risk owner would be like the CISO, someone who is like a chief operating, like someone who has chief in the title. So really management team. That's the difference. Now, the next one is This is the last one. So this is attestation versus certification. And this is something that people always get wrong too. And it can be confusing, but it's really important to get it right. So attestation it's gotten from the word testing. Testation. You're testing something. That's what attestation really means. And attestation isn't done by a certified body. It's not formal. It's more like an informal way of someone testing to say, oh, you do what you say you're doing. So think of somebody, you tell someone that, hey, I'm doing this, and they come to check to see that you do what you say you're doing. Let's say that you're working on a project and a supervisor comes to check to see that you did the project well. It's that kind of informal thing where there is no certification or like that's backing that, right? So that's an attestation. It's more like testing. So SOC 2 is a attestation. A SOC 2 is an example of an attestation, and it is not a certification. A SOC 2 is a framework, right? And so an example of a certification would be ISO. ISO is a certification, right? ISO 27001 is a certification because it's backed by a formal certification body. Examples of that would be BSI, right? And while a SOC 2 is done by a CPA. So they're two different things. A certification is not an attestation. So just think about it. Like if someone is just testing something, there isn't like a formal backing, there isn't a formal certification body backing them. That is testing. If they are, if there's a formal certification body backing them, and often they're following a standard, not a framework, a standard, then that is a certification. So yeah, those are the differences. I hope that you enjoyed this video. This video is just more like an informational video, so that as you're breaking in with the knowledge. You're equipped to the knowledge that you need to break in, and it's really good to know the difference between these terms. You can also look up more terms that people often like interchange, and just like educate yourself. Yeah. So I wish you guys all the success breaking in, and let me know if you enjoyed this video. Share, like, so that other people can also find it who are looking for help with breaking into cybersecurity. I hope this video helps. And yeah, more videos coming your way to help you and make this journey easy for you. Thanks for watching.